The new Sony XB41 is a completely different beast from last year's Sony XB40. Last year, if you asked me to choose between the XB30 and the XB40, I would say just get the XB30. But now, the Sony XB41 is a genuine step up from the XB31. The XB31 is great, but the XB41 kicks it up a notch. Here's what's new on the nearly perfect Sony XB41. The Sony XB41 is the largest model in Sony's latest Bluetooth speaker lineup. It currently retails for $249.99 and it comes in 3 colors, black, blue, or red. The outgoing XB40 can currently be found for $150. If you want to pick up either of these speakers, I'll have a link in the description below, and if you use the link, it really helps out the channel. Check them out because Sony speakers routinely go on sale, so you might get lucky. The differences between the XB41 and XB40 are much more apparent than the differences between the XB30 and XB31. The new XB41 shares the same new sleek design found on the XB31, but bigger. The XB41 has a new fabric mesh covered body that's way more durable than the soft touch rubber body on the XB40. Like, it's really easy to scratch up that XB40. Both of these speakers feature identical light feature setups as well. A color changing light strip, strobe lights on each side, and light up speakers. But the light feature on the XB41 is much better than the one on the XB40. It's much more detailed, much more vibrant, and way easier to see in brighter environments. And I personally really like how the light strip now wraps around the sides of the speaker. The new XB41 is also a little longer and a little taller than the older XB40. Both of these speakers have very similar speaker setups as well, dual transducers and dual pass radiators that shoot out the front and out the back. But the larger XB41 has slightly smaller 2.28 inch diameter transducers, while the XB40 has 2.4 inch diameter transducers. The size difference is negligible, but I thought I would mention it. One of the improvements on the XB41 that I like the most is the way you charge it. Before, with the XB40, you had to use the 9.5 volt DC input to charge it. So if you planned on taking it on the go with you, then you had to bring along the charging cable. But now with the XB41, you have two options. You can use the included 5 volt DC charging cable, or you can use a micro USB cable. And this is great because if you take the XB41 to a friend's house and you run out of juice, you can just ask to borrow a micro USB cable and a powerful enough wall adapter. And just like before, the XB41 has its own USB out, so you can charge up your own phone. Sony's new speaker lineup is all about durability. Sony's previous XB20, XB30, and XB40 were all IPX5 rated, so a little splash of water here and there wouldn't be a problem. But you shouldn't submerge them, and due to the exposed speaker design, sand and dirt can get behind the metal grille. The new XB41 is now shockproof and IP67 rated, so this means it's dust and dirt proof thanks to that new fabric mesh, it's waterproof, and I also found this behemoth floats. Battery life on the XB41 has also been improved. The XB41, XB40, and XB31 all advertise a battery life of 24 hours, but on the real-world use with the light feature turned on and with the volume set at 80%, I found that these two speakers average 9 hours of playback time. Under the same conditions, I found that the XB41 averages 12 hours of playback time. In my testing at least, I found that there is a battery improvement between the XB41 and XB40. Now let's get into the sound test.
Something tells me that I won't miss it. It's the first time that we can fix it. It's irreversible damage done. The bill is gone. Ooh, baby, ain't no one like you. You chose to keep the truth inside. Ooh, baby, keep my all to you. All you did was tell me lies. Something tells me that I won't miss it. It's the first time that we
quality on the XB40 and XB41 is still very similar, but I did find the XB41 gets slightly louder than the XB40. And for those who aren't familiar with Sony's extra bass lineup, as the name implies, these speakers are going to put an emphasis on the bass. At the beginning of the song, you might have noticed the vocals on the XB40 and XB41 didn't sound as clear as the JBL Xtreme, because that one puts an emphasis on the mid and has a lot of treble. But when the drop came, the XB41 and XB40 sounded much better than the JBL Xtreme. The XB41 is better suited for people like me who listen to a lot of rap, hip-hop, EDM, and so on. But if you listen to a lot of rock or music that puts an emphasis on the vocals, then you're going to think these speakers sound muddy. But my biggest problem with the XB41 is how Sony completely missed the mark with their new live sound setting. On the smaller XB31, if you turn live sound on, the bass is tamed a bit and the mids and vocals are pushed forward. And I feel this is a good setting for rock. But on the XB41, for some reason, there's just a bunch of echo thrown in. And in most cases, it just distorts the music. Here's an additional 30-second clip of the XB41 and XB31 in live sound and the JBL Xtreme again.
Something tells me that I won't miss it. It's the first time that we can fix it. It's even for simple damage done. The real is gone. Ooh, baby, what I do, you choose to keep the truth inside. Ooh, baby, leave my body through. All you do is tell me lies. It's the first time we can fix it. It's even better when it's gone.
I just feel this was Sony's chance to appeal to everyone, and they blew it by adding a whole bunch of echo into the XB41's live sound. Live sound on the XB31 doesn't have all of this echo, and if live sound on the XB41 sounded similar to the XB31's, then you can have all of the bass goodness on the XB41, and then at the press of a button, have a JBL speaker. But if you open up Sony's Music Center app, you can go into the sound settings and adjust the equalizer from there, so it's not the end of the world. But when you use your own EQ settings, then you do give up Clear Audio Plus. So at higher volumes, you'll start to hear some distortion. But since I listen to a lot of rap, I just keep the extra bass feature and Clear Audio Plus on, so I don't get too much distortion. But with the extra bass feature turned on, I do find the XB41 isn't the best for listening to podcasts. So in order to turn off the extra bass feature, all you have to do is press and hold the play and minus button until the indicator light turns green, and then press and hold the same buttons again until the indicator turns white again to turn extra bass back on. Sony's Music Center app also allows you to choose from a few different lighting modes. There's Rave, Chill, which is my personal favorite, or Rave mode without the strobe lights, and Strobe. There are a few others to choose from, but these are the main four. The XB41 also connects to Sony's Fiestable app, and oh my god, it's awful. Aside from being a complete eyesore, all you can really do is just change the color of the light strip. It's better than nothing, but I wish we had more customization options, and Sony needs to completely redesign this app. Fiestable also allows you to jam in random sounds while your speaker is playing music. Do I actually use it? Absolutely not. Another feature that I'm never going to use again on the XB41 is Party Booster. It's a thing, but I imagine that if you get carried away, you're probably gonna end up dropping the XB41 on your toe. Okay, and here's the microphone test. It doesn't sound good, but this audio clip is being recorded by the microphone on the Sony XB41, so you can be the judge of that. One last thing I want to touch on here is connectivity. The XB40 is good for a range of about 40 feet, but the XB41 easily doubled that with direct line of sight. I never really had any connection issues with the XB41 period. Unfortunately, the XB41 has a little more latency than the XB31 when watching video, but it's still better than the XB40. Sony also allows you to pair up to 100 Sony speakers together in sync, anything from the XB20 all the way up to the XB90, and the new XB41 has no problem pairing up to the older XB40. If you want to learn how to pair these speakers up, then watch my tutorial. But in order to get left and right stereo sound going, you need to have two of the same speakers. Unfortunately, the XB40 and XB41 won't play in stereo mode. Like I said at the beginning of this video, the Sony XB41 is nearly perfect. I think it sounds great for the type of music I listen to. I love that you can charge it with a micro USB cable now. That added durability is a very big plus, and I really like the new sleek design. But I would improve the XB41 by switching the micro USB port to a USB-C port. I would also get rid of all of the unnecessary echo in live sound mode. I would also like to be able to cycle between the 4 main light settings directly from the speaker, like I can on the JBL Pulse 3, without having to open up the app every single time. Sony's app also need improving, cause sometimes there are connection issues or they'll just crash. But even with its flaws, I still really like the new Sony XB41. Like I've said before, you can't go wrong with the XB31, but if you upgrade to the XB41, you're getting more wall shaking bass, a longer battery life, it's still just as durable, and you can charge it up with a micro USB cable, which I think is a very big deal. We still have to wait what the JBL Xtreme 2 has to offer, but right now, I think the Sony XB41 is a strong contender for this year's Most Improved award. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. Support the channel by clicking on the links down below, and I'll catch you next time.